So much for that.
So they could write it and they did.
Do we need to have this? Do we have to need
It's
this?
a little easier this year.
I think so, to see the taker.
I don't remember that.
Right? We're in these hats. Lee's got his on.
Well, welcome everybody. The Board of Trustees of the Porte ISD are reconvened from the closed meeting. It's at 6 o'clock, and I have a board protocol to read. It says, the Board of Trustees of the Porte Independent School District is now convened. I wish to extend a warm welcome to everyone present. Every student's success is our #1 priority. As the LaPorte ISD Board of Trustees, we're here to set goals, adopt policy, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and communicate the district's vision and success to the community. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. School board meetings are open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. Audience participation is limited to the patron presentation portion of the meeting. Board members may not respond to the public comment section. These proceedings may be recorded, and I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking. Thank you for taking time this evening to join us and for your interest in the LaPorte Independent School District. At this time, we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Will you join me with the recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas flag? Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. And the invocation will be given by Ms. Kathy Green, Board Secretary.
You'll bow your heads, please. Gracious God, looking back on the last 10 or 11 months, sometimes we find it hard to be positive, but I believe that each and every one of us here today come with hearts of gratitude. Gratitude for the way that we've been able to hold things together, we've been able to move forward, but most of all, for each and every heart that is within hearing distance of this plea. Lord, these people here care about the students of LaPorte ISD. It is our priority. It is why we come together tonight. And we wish nothing but the best, good health, prosperity, and hope for each one of our students. Most everyone here has been touched by the COVID in one way or another. You may have lost a friend, a family member. You may have suffered yourself. But we're going to move into this new year with an even stronger attitude for gratitude, because I believe that gratitude is what's going to get us through this, and we're going to come out on the other side stronger than ever. But most of all, Father, we thank you for each and every one of these hearts, each and every one of these people who have their own reasons for being here and for making this a priority. We ask your protection upon them and their families and their friends, and we ask that you be with each one of us as we make decisions that we always want to be in the best interest of our students. In your precious Son's name, amen.
Amen.
Okay, and board, if we step down, we're going to do recognition.
Get stuff where I can operate when I get back.
Good evening. Does this thing work? Story of my life. Good evening, everyone. Great things are happening at LaPorte ISD, and it's been a minute since we've had this many people recognized at the Board of Trustees meeting. So it gives me a great pleasure to get this thing going. First of all, the band in color guard snagged third place in visual performance in area, earning the first area finalist designation for LaPorte High School since 1989. LaPorte was among a relative handful of schools that qualified for the area competition after earning sweepstakes, a composite first division rating by all judges, for those of you who aren't familiar with the process. That was at the Region 19 UIL marching contest on November 14th in Channelview. I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Matthew Burke, Director of Performing and Fine Arts. He has some presentations.
In August, from the state, we were told what we couldn't. In September, we were told what we couldn't. Mr. Eager and Miss Alyssa Powell, our head drum major, got our kids together and said, how can we? The group of 200 plus students that chose to meet, and they chose to meet every day under the conditions that they had to operate in, which seemed to change every day. UIL said, don't do this. They didn't do this. We told them, don't do this. They didn't do this. But they didn't care. When they finally got to the area competition, one of few of the districts that chose to go, they only did their complete performance 3 times. On a typical year, by the time they got to area, they would have done it 15 times. But they said, how can we do? Tonight is about them. I wish that we could bring all 250 of them here, but apparently we can't do that. So I'd like to bring up Mr. Eager and our head drum major, Miss Alyssa Powell, and recognize the LaPorte High School Band on their amazing accomplishments.
How you want to do it? Fist bump, there you go. Congratulations. Excellent.
If y'all circle back around and stand kind of in the middle so I can get a picture. Yeah, okay, smile.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
We go from a first time in a long time to a first time ever. For the first time in the history of LaPorte High School's story cross-country program, the boys team advanced to the UIL cross-country championships. First time ever, y'all. Naomi Green ran individually in pursuit of a girls' individual state crown. She's a junior. With that, Coach Thompson, where are you? Coach Alicia Thompson, Athletic Director. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. It's my honor tonight to congratulate all of our cross-country athletes, both teams for a successful season, but to specifically recognize our athletes who advanced to our state tournament, our state cross-country championship. From our girls cross-country team, we'd like to recognize the Fort High School junior Naomi Green. Naomi is a 3-year varsity runner in our program, and she has been an individual and team qualifier for the regional meet all 3 years. To the state qualifying meet as an individual runner. Congratulations. Tonight we are also recognizing our boys cross-country team. As runners-up in District 22-5A, this team ran a tremendous race at the regional meet. Amazing State was the 3rd place team in Region 3. Earning Laporte its first team appearance at the state meet since the first sanctioned cross-country event, which took place in 1972. Members of the team include sophomore Brady Axtell, sophomore Logan Sweeney, sophomore Malachi Mitchell, sophomore Bryce Shawley, junior Sergio Lara, junior Noah Baca, junior Austin Minimal, senior Joseph Sheffield, senior Andrew Cornett, and senior Nicholas Rossier. And of course, behind every successful athlete, and quite literally behind, because you usually find these coaches on their bikes behind the runners. Our tremendous coaches, cross-country coaches, we have boys assistant Cody Priest. We'd also like to recognize our head girls cross-country coach, Carolina Rodriguez. Also our first-year head boys coach, Ashley Stewart. This is Priest's first year, but Coach Stewart and Coach Rodriguez are longtime coaches here in the Porte ISD. So we certainly appreciate your commitment to the district and your commitment to the success of our athletes. So thank you. Okay. And the other one, Julie.
Come on. Your hair sure didn't look like that on Saturday.
Either way, I don't know, whatever you want to do, shake hands or
Thank you.
proud of you. That's a lot of work.
Naomi, come stand here in the center.
That is a lot of work. Come on.
Awesome job, lady. You sure.
Yeah, you can get on. All right. All right, thank you.
Straight ahead, man.
You want to shake? Okay, good. That works for me. Congratulations.
Speech, Coach Stewart. Speech, Coach Stewart.
See you?
All right, everybody look at me. All right, thank you.
Talk about
Ladies and gentlemen, as our cabinet begins to make its way up to the front to assist, I want to hand the floor back to Mr. Matthew Burke for just a moment.
We just want to publicly acknowledge and thank our LaPorte High School orchestra students that provided us our those students were Amy Bennett, Mia Garcia, Lily Wynn, and Kylie Wyatt, and their orchestra directors are Mr. George Crandall, Mr. Brian Beers. So they provided
Very impressive. Oh, that's a radio.
Well, first of all, I think most of us think that every month ought to be School Board Recognition Month, but we don't make those rules, but we sure are pleased to recognize you this evening. A little background here, January 2021, and really January of every year, is School Board Recognition Month, and it's to thank our elected school leaders, school board members, for caring about the future of our students and communities. They work for free. They work for free. The Porte ISD joins other districts across the state in celebrating these community volunteers for their commitment and contributions to children. As if you couldn't tell, our theme is navigating to success. That's the theme across the state for 2021. Demonstrating how local trustees give of themselves to provide outstanding opportunities for the children in their district. While we appreciate the efforts of trustees throughout the year, January, once again, is set aside for the month where we all come together and celebrate and show our gratitude to you, and many thanks to all of you. Okay, we ready? First, Ms. Deanne Thompson. We're delivering to you.
I saw that she had texted me, but I didn't look at it.
Mr. Lee Wallace. Thank you, sir.
Please leave your...
Ms. Kathy Green.
Let me have my phone because she texted me.
Okay.
Hi, Charleston. We lost you.
We got you back now.
Thank you. Mr. Russell Shopping. Mr. Chris Murdoch.
Thank you, sir. Can't see my face.
And finally, while she could not be here tonight, we certainly want to recognize Ms. Charles C. Wheeler.
That was for you.
Okay, Ms. Wallace. Ms. Scott. Y'all want to have a seat?
Yes.
Hey, what was that thing you said about free a while ago?
Hey, I don't mind that.
I needed to stand. I should have skipped leg day.
Well, Board, it's a great day to be a bobcat and a bulldog.
Yes.
We appreciate all of the hard work you do. We have a little video presentation for you.
Awesome.
And the LPs at your desk are very special because all of the children sign their names. You can hardly tell, but
So
just
beautiful.
minuscule little names in there with their handwriting. So
Beautiful.
there you go. So here we go.
Here we go. And volume.
Honor, integrity, and pride. These three words are the foundations of what we have and strive to be day in and day out here at Porte ISD. The Board of Trustees have supported our students, schools, and district as a whole to be the best we can for our children and community. Because of their endless support, the students of Bayshore Elementary can be successful. Big successes, small successes, they are all so important at their core. Our students learn a variety of skills that will lead them to do great things. We want to express our gratitude for the effort and energy that you pour out to lead this wonderful district that we call home. Thank you for helping us navigate to success. It is a great day to be a bobcat and a bulldog.
Love it.
Well, that was very sweet. The one from us is, hopefully will make you laugh. Like Ms. Green said, you just have to buck up and deal with all the things that have happened. And so we had a little fun with, I guess, a parody. I think everyone out here is old enough to appreciate it. It was very difficult. I usually have a vision and I get teachers to help me with the vision, and one of them I literally had to explain what the whole thing was, and because she is so young, but you'll get it when you see it. So I was telling her, and she's like, I don't get it. And so, anywho, but she did a great job, and so we certainly appreciate everything that you do for us. And you have a little booklet of what the kids held up so that you can read it later, because there's a lot of funny little things in there that you might miss when you see the video. And, of course, the little sailor hat.
This one?
Yes, because we just have to all have fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you this special message.
Through the rough seas of 2020, we clung to our lifeboat. Thank you, OPISD school board members, for keeping us afloat, navigating us in the right direction, anchoring us to our goals and purpose. And you never abandoned us. And showed appreciation. Thanks from parents and elementary students and staff! Oh, wow.
Y'all always outdo yourselves.
Yeah, that was awesome.
A bit overwhelming, all this.
That was awesome. Everything, presentation, everything. That's speechless. Thank y'all for all y'all do. Now we're going to turn to item 6, public comments. The board will now hear those who wish to make comments and who have completed and returned the public comment participation request. This section will be conducted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act and board policy. Complaints and concerns for which other resolution channels are provided shall be directed through those channels. Ms. Thompson, is there any?
No, sir, there was not.
Okay, and so we'll move on to item 8, superintendent report. We have on the Ms. Rhonda Cumby presenting on the budget calendar, but before that, Dr. Jackson might have a few words.
So, Mr. President and members of the board, again, today is a great day to be a Bulldog.
Yeah.
And we would like to take this opportunity one more time to publicly recognize and thank our board for your service to the students and the staff of LaPorte ISD and the community. Thank you for your dedication to the learning, growth, and development of our students and our staff, and it is greatly appreciated. Board, today also marks the opening day of the 87th legislative session of the Texas Legislature. The Texas Legislature will remain in session today through May 31st. As it stands, there are 31 state senators and 150 members of the House, but we can assume most decisions will eventually come down to our 3 leaders, Governor Greg Abbott, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, and incoming House Speaker Dade Phelan. The Texas State Teachers Association is calling on the legislature to provide an option for virtual testimony for every committee hearing. The lawmaking process must remain accessible to all members of the public, the group's president said in a statement this morning, including those who need or prefer the safety of participating remotely. The state of Texas is expected to have over a $112 billion in revenue for general purpose spending during the 2022-23 biennium. This week, the Texas Comptroller Glenn Hager released the biennial revenue estimate. This revenue estimate represents a 0.4% decrease from funds available from the 2020-21 biennium. Comptroller Hager says the decline is a direct result of the COVID-19 pandemic, which caused revenue collections to fall well short of what was expected when the legislature approved the 2020-21 budget. The ending 2020-21 balance will be close to a negative $1 billion. We know that this is a significant budget deficit, and it could mean negative consequences for public schools. 10 years ago, when the state faced this approximate revenue shortfall, it was Texas public schools that took a significant decrease in funding. We're hopeful that we will not repeat such draconian cuts. With today being the opening of the 87th legislative session, LaPorte ISD has drafted a document titled Legislative Priorities that we believe will best support our advocacy as we visit with state lawmakers about what we deem to be important to LaPorte ISD and Texas public schools. As your superintendent, I will give my best effort to remain engaged in the legislative process and vigorously advocate on behalf of our school district. Our efforts to mitigate the spread of COVID-19 have been nonstop for months. In fact, it is the single most important item on my daily agenda board. Every ounce of our collective energy is devoted to mitigating the spread of COVID infections. In addition to following the CDC guidelines and the TEA guidelines to prevent the spread, LaPorte ISD also employs a very detailed reporting and tracking system to help ensure those people who are confirmed positive or who have been exposed. We follow district guidance to self-isolate and recover at home. District administrators and campus nurses consult and meet daily so that everyone remains aware of successes and our challenges. Our COVID response team regularly consults with the health department's epidemiologists, who has complemented our tracing and mitigation efforts on more than one occasion. The rate of confirmed positive cases in LaPorte ISD remains far below the greater Houston area's rate, and we believe that much of this is due to everyone's diligence to keep LaPorte ISD clean and safe and healthy. And finally, Board, our COVID-19 response team has begun discussions with area health facilities and pharmacies in our area in an effort to make vaccines more readily available to our district staff. We plan to update the board as these discussions unfold and we yield promising actionable plans for our district. This will conclude my report for the board. Are there any questions for me at this time?
Board, any questions?
No, sir.
Thank you, board. And now I'll yield the floor to our Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Rhonda Comby, and she'll discuss our calendar for our budget.
Good evening. Thank you all for everything you do for us. We appreciate it more than you know. The budget calendar, you get this every year in January. It's just a guide. It's a fluid document. Things can change, but it basically tells you what's going on when with the budget. Right now, our budget adoption is slated for June 22nd. We have to adopt it before June 30th because we have a June 30th year in. And the tax rate won't be adopted now that they've done compression and the state doesn't set our compression rate until August. We can't adopt our tax rate until September, October. So it'll just be the budget. And right now, all of our planning will be done at regular board meetings. If we have information to bring to you, and we're planning on a planning June 8th when we have the whole budget completed and we can talk about assumptions and those kind of things. Any questions on the budget calendar? With the legislative in session, of course, you that have been around a while know, but you that are new, sometimes that calendar is very flexible because things come to the legislature that we think you need to know about and those kind of things. So it'll just be fluid, but this is basically the steps we take.
So we're not going to have a workshop of any kind between now and June unless something comes up that is unforeseen?
We're going to roll them into the normal board meetings.
Okay.
Unless things change. Now, if there's something that we think it may take a long time, we possibly could, and Dr. Jackson can address that as well.
Okay.
She said it best. We're going to roll them into our regular board meetings, but at any given time, I was just kind of whispering over here to David, at any given time that we believe that it's going to take a little longer, we'll just let you know well in advance that we want to call for a workshop time, okay? But we believe we can get some of these things done. Our meetings are not lasting until 12 and 1 o'clock, so we can get a lot of that done. And it's really out of respect for you all to not have to come back again. But if we ever need to do that, we can do that, okay?
Okay, sounds great.
And generally, we try to do those on the fourth Tuesday, because that's our regularly scheduled if we have to have a second meeting. But we also are flexible to your schedules and those kind of things. So tentatively, you can think about that. But what we plan on doing is just doing any kind of workshop we need in our regular meeting, and it'll be posted as such. But obviously, Mr. Yon and Dr. Jackson will work through those things.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Rhonda.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Any other questions? All right, great.
Thank you, Rhonda. Move on to item 8, receive the 2019-2020 Texas Academic Performance Report. Dr. Waller?
Good evening, everyone. Trustees, again, thank you very much for your dedication. You are greatly appreciated. The Texas Academic Performance Report, fondly known as the TAPER, is a document that TEA pulls together every year for districts and campuses, and it aggregates a variety of data, student performance, but it also provides some extensive information on school and district staff, programs, and student demographics. However, due to the STAR cancellations last year, the cancellation of the STAR in 2020, there was no student performance data to present in the 1920 taper report. What they have done, the agency has done, is they have provided older STAR data from 2019 and compared it to 2018. So because that's 2 and 3 years old, we're not going to go over the STAR data this evening. But at least having the taper report allows us to fulfill our legal obligation to have the taper presented and a hearing. So for the 1920 school year, LaPorte ISD and all campuses were not rated, declared state of disaster. So when you look at the taper report and it says 2020 accountability rating, that's exactly what it says. It says not rated, declared state of disaster. Also on the front page of the taper report, you'll see the 2020 special education determination status. And the district did meet requirements on that. That's the highest that you can get. And it looks at a variety of indicators to include data integrity, compliance. I'm not sure what STAR performance is in there this year, but we did meet requirements on that. Also, on the very last page of the taper, there is a link to the PEAMS Financial Standards Report for 18-19. This is an active hyperlink, and I'm not going to go to that right this moment, but it will take you to the 18-19 financials, and I don't know, Rhonda, if there's anything that you would want to say about that, but it is something that is a requirement to share with the public. And most certainly, if you have any questions, please feel free to.
Linda, we're not having STAR this year, right?
Okay, well, we are having STAR this year. We will have the STAR administered. However, there will not be ratings.
So what will we review in 22?
I have no idea.
No idea.
Well, no, I say that. We will actually, they will report out the data. So we'll be able to take a look at it. Although the agency did caution that because we are in COVID, that we just take all of that into consideration. But yes, we will be administering the STAR this spring.
And Lee, as I said earlier about the legislative session, we're in the legislative session, and there are teacher groups and other professional groups that are lobbying and asking the legislature to even look at it again. Right now, we're scheduled to have the STAR, and we're planning and we're working with our students. But who knows?
Right.
Anything could happen between now and March and April. So.
Right. Yes, sir. Although not published in the taper, we are required to address the district's accreditation report. So the link on this slide, that's a hyperlink that you can find any district in the state. So LaPorte ISD, we are in Region 4. Our 2019 first rating was A, superior. Our 2019 accountability rating was a B, and for the 1920 school year, our accreditation status is accredited. So again, with regard to STAR performance, because there was not a 2020 STAR administration or administrations, because we have several of them, we're not going to delve into the STAR student performance data, but what I will share with you, as we just looked in the other at the other slide, the district did receive a B. It was an 85 in the 18-19 school year. We had a B in student achievement, a B in student progress, and a B in closing the gaps.
In past years, we have taken a look at attendance, dropout, and graduation rates. And while this says 2018-19, one other common factor in the taper reports is that it reports on trailing data or data from a prior year. So, so when we're looking at this attendance data, the dropout data, and the graduation rates, we are looking at the 18-19 school year. So attendance, I have the district and I've got the state. Not sure what that was from, but anyway, the attendance rate for the district in the 18-19 school year was 94.3 and the state was 95.4. Our annual dropout for grades 7 and 8 was 0.1%. You can see what the state was. The annual dropout rate, grades 9 through 12, 1.2, less than the state's 1.9. And the 4-year longitudinal graduation rate for the class of 2019 is 93%.
Do you know what that number was last year?
I do not, but we can, I can turn if somebody thinks they know that. For 2020, but.
Because I think that's lower than it was.
So,
Has the state released it to
No.
us as of yet? Okay.
no, it isn't. I'm sorry if I didn't.
I meant the last time we looked at the taper rate, taper report, I should say.
Oh, that we had a projection.
I can go back and look at it.
We can get a projection. I can absolutely get that. That is not. Performance indicators, again, this is the 2018-19 annual graduates, so this would have been the class of 2019, and pulled out a few of the indicators that we have looked at before. Our college, career, and military ready, we've been talking about that because it's in our board goals.
Mm-hmm.
And for the class of 2019, we have exceeded the state, 76.6% to 72.9%. And again, as you'll recall, a student has to meet one of 11 indicators. So and this is, for example, they either meet a criteria for the SAT, the ACT, or some type of college prep course, AP criteria, dual course credit, associate's degree, and underneath career and military ready, approved industry-based certification, CTE coherent sequence, at the time enlisted in the armed forces, but the state has come and they have removed that. Not that it's not still important for us to do, but they have removed that as one of the criteria. We are testing more SAT students than the state. We do the SAT school day, so we're testing hundreds of our juniors. Our SAT, ACT above criterion is under the state, but nonetheless it is still something that is a focus for our high schoolers. Our associate's degree, as you know, we're very proud of our ACE program, and you can see that our associate's degree rate is substantially higher than the states. The districts is substantially higher than the states. And then one other indicator that we are required to present is our graduates that are enrolled in Texas higher education, institutions of higher education. And that 54.7 can be a little misleading because this does not include any student that would enroll in a private institution or out of state. It's only going to be Texas public institutions. Then looking at our student, some of our student demographics. Now we're going to get more current time. So this past school year. And you can see our student ethnic distribution and how we compare to the state. We did not really have a significant shift from the prior year. Within student demographics, our economically disadvantaged was 53.2 compared to the state's 60.3. I did confirm today that where we stand right now, we're about 59%. Our English learners, they really didn't shift much from the prior year, nor did our at-risk. Our students with disciplinary placements, and again, this is in the 18-19 school year, and it is a little higher than the state, and we kind of wanted to delve into that and see what we felt like could have been a contributing factor. We do know that this was the year after Santa Fe. Santa Fe shootings occurred at the end of the school year, and those of you that were on the board know that one of the things that we were very adamant about, we even modified our student code of conduct to say we were not going to deal with students that were just kidding or just joking if they were going to make comments, as you know. So we did have some that tested us, and so we did have some students that had to reap the consequences of that.
But I'd rather those things get reported and hurt that number than run the risk myself.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're exactly right on that.
I was at the school. I hope I never see anything like that again.
That just gave me the chills. Students by instructional program, our bilingual ESL 11.2, CTE 29.2, gifted and talented 8.6, and special ed 10.7. And those numbers really didn't fluctuate much from the prior year. Okay, shifting to teachers, this is interesting. Our beginning teachers, 3.6%. Teachers with 1 to 5 years of experience, 26.5. Years 6 to 10, 19.7. Years 11 to 20, 33.5, and over 20, 16.7. So we have some good experience in our district.
It's a good balance.
Not part of the taper, but required by statute to publish annually our report on violent and criminal incidents at campuses in the district. And in the 1920 school year, we had none.
Praise the Lord.
And this is a summary report, and besides the actual PDF taper, I really didn't have anything else that I was going to present on the slides, but I certainly can stand for questions before we open the public hearing.
Board, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. Then if y'all have any questions for Dr. Wadley, you can ask it, okay?
Okay.
So it is 6:49. I'm going to open the public hearing on the 2019-2020 Texas Academic Performance Report. And so, board, if y'all have any questions for Dr. Wadley?
Dr. Wadley. I hate to rear its same old ugly head, but what is our plan of action for tackling the 8th grade social studies, which has been problematic for us for a few years now?
Yes, ma'am. Well, we are continuing to work closely with the teacher teams at both the junior highs and even Baker. Actually, I've got Miss Tilly right over my right shoulder, and she has been our leader in working with these teacher teams, really on a, come on up here if you'd like to, on a routine basis with we call them checkpoints. We're monitoring student performance. You're mapping out content.
Meeting regularly with their department chairs to make sure that we're working cohesively together, and we've named their power standards, which in social studies, the power standards are those standards that have, been tested regularly on every single one of the STAR tests. Does that mean that's the only things we're teaching? No, but we're revisiting those, spiraling those back in, and we're also looking at 6th grade and 7th grade closely, the vocabulary. So because this social studies, it's a systemic issue as well because of the vocabulary, and looking very closely, not just looking very closely, we're really measuring, and I'm happy to say that looking at our, we gave a mid-year semester exam, they used it as a benchmark, and here it is a COVID year, but we were on target, Ms. Thompson, to do well, and that was the one group we were just going, oh, I wish we could have gotten to take that STAR test, because I really feel like it was going to change this conversation, but we are right now already, we did the very same that we did last year, and we've got some real targeted areas. Bringing up teachers, the staff has kind of changed to some extent too, which I feel like is going to help too.
Okay.
I did a lot of talking. Did that answer your question?
Well, it does, and I'm glad we're measuring, but it's just, I just feel like we're just not making traction on it. And I look at, in 2018, our taper said 36% meets grade level or above, and then in 2019, I felt like we were making traction, and I knew that we were, had a lot of programs in place and checkpoints and whatnot. But to see it go down, it just was alarming.
And those are, we certainly do not want to ever see a repeat on that.
Yes.
If it gives you any encouragement on this, on the benchmark in December, it was 58% meets, and we're not even looking at. That's as low as we're going to look at. Our goal is to, and we had much more on the masters.
Okay.
And we really are looking at content very carefully. When I met with the 6th grade, the maps, graphs, and charts, kids using those, being comfortable with those skills. And then they're again pulling out of Texas history, because the funnest class for any teacher to ever get to teach was Texas history. There's no accountability. It's a story. We all get to live Texas history. However, we are integrating what was going on in the United States at the same time that this Texas history is going on. Vocabulary, one more time, maps, graphs, and charts. And it is things that we took for granted, but really helping our kids glean from that information and be able to draw information from that. Crossing over, whenever I meet with the coaches, our instructional coaches, the math folks are helping, to support what we need to be doing in social studies as well. And there's a lot of kids. Whenever I was a kid, we went on family vacations to the Alamo, and to we knew Texas history in our home, and we see that. We see the history, and boy, if anything, right now we're living some interesting history. And we're doing that. We just finished up the Constitution, so how cool. We're, the checks and balances. Really trying to help these kids make a connection with what's happening. Because by the time they're juniors in high school, it's more of a modern history, and they're just blowing the, they're blowing the top off of it. So.
Okay,
I
thank
hope,
you.
I just hope,
Maybe
I
we're
mean,
making
and
some
I'm
traction.
staying on them. I'm, you know, I'm staying, not on them, I'm staying with them. And we're
Yes,
really working.
of course.
Dr. Taylor, I'd like to kind of piggyback on that with a couple of concerns of mine. And I preface this pre-COVID, because I know how COVID is a big disruptor and this is all changing, but pre-COVID, kind of looking at the tape report again, looking at that data, two concerns come to me. One is on the 7th grade math,
Yes.
because we're, showing like on the meets about 23-point drop from the state average.
Yes.
That kind of red flag for me. And then the other one is looking at both 2019 and 18. If you take the average of the approaching meets and masters from 3rd grade reading to 6th grade reading, we're 6 points above the state. Awesome. Okay. But when we're looking at 7th to 12th grade reading, we're down 3.25 points below the state.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then on the math side, 3rd to 6th grade math, 7 points above the state average. If you average out, where we are with state approaches, meets, and masters, and then 11 points on the 2019 data, 11 points below the state from 7th grade to exit level on the STAR test. So it's like we're starting here in the state, and it seems like we're going like this as progressing. And so I don't know what your take in as far as what the action plan. I know I'm saying this pre-COVID because I know how COVID has disrupted everything, so I get that. So I was just seeing what your thoughts on that.
Okay, and yes, the 7th grade math, I want to address that first. The 7th grade math, and you know that for our 7th grade math students, this is all of our regular math. Our 7th grade pre-algebra take the 8th grade math test. And so therefore, you don't have, unfortunately, you don't have some of your higher performing students helping to pull those percentages up. But with that being said, we, and thanks to you guys, we have made a huge investment beginning this school year by hiring, we have a 6th through 8th grade math coach, Faith Miller. We have a 6th through 8th grade ELA coach who's also right now serving also as our 9 through 12 ELA. And they're working closely with our teachers. Amazing. I meet with them every Friday. Amazing, amazing, amazing work is happening. And one of the cool things, like going back to 7th grade math, Faith Miller notices there's a particular TEK in 7th grade that was introduced in 6th grade that our kids historically, she's looked at the data. The data says that they historically do lousy on that particular standard. So guess what she does? She goes and she sits down and she spends days with 6th grade math. Show me how you're teaching this. And they almost got into an argument over this. However, it's these deep conversations that they're having, and we're seeing just amazing results already from this. A lot of greater understanding in just how to teach these standards. We've also got teachers that have, especially like at LaPorte Junior, those teachers have been here for a few years. Now, Lomax, we've got some new teachers, but Faith is in there working with those teachers and working with the principals. And they're coaching them. We've invested in time this year giving them great coaching training through Region 4. And so I hope I'm not out of line for saying, I'm excited about what's happening. I think we're going to do much better in spite of COVID, because our teachers are really teaching much more competently. That I can almost say the same thing about the 6th through 8th grade ELA. We have new TEKs, we have new materials, but we have a rock star in Don Gussie as a ELA coach, and I've been in education a long time. I do not have a single week that goes by that I have not learned something from them about best practices. And she's really changing the way we're teaching ELA, and that's all the way through 12th grade. Now, we do hope that we're able to fill that 9th through 12th grade coach, because she's, she's working 24/7, I think. But I think I can speak to the principals that she's very passionate, yes, about it, and she's breaking, they're both, all of them. I mean, my high school, we have Kelly Mules as our high school 9th through 12th grade math coach. One more time. These people are breaking down the standards down to the levels of teaching and understanding, and I feel confident that we're giving our teachers a tool chest that I think these scores are going to look a lot different. If they're not, David, then I'm running, and I'm running away. But I think it will.
Well, I appreciate it.
Okay.
Share your confidence. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Did I address your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Tilly.
They really have done a remarkable job establishing some really fantastic relationships with the teachers, you know, developing that trust, and so.
Well, thank you. Do you, board, do y'all have any questions for Dr. Wally? Any further questions?
Close the hearing.
Okay. Well, I'm going to close the hearing.
What about public?
Oh, public, yes, thank you. Public, is anybody in the public would like to ask a question for Dr. Wally or a comment on the taper report?
I thank you all.
So hearing none, so I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing at 7:02 p.m. And thank you, Dr. Wally. Thank you for your presentation.
Appreciate you all.
Thank you for letting me know. Thank you. Okay, we'll go to item 10, consent agenda. We're going to approve, A, approve any consent agenda items. We got B, approve the board meeting minutes from the regular board meeting of December 8, 2020. C, receive principal's report. Number 1, Early Childhood Center. 2, Bayshore Elementary. 3, College Park Elementary. 4, Heritage Elementary. 5, Jenny Reed Elementary. 6, LaPorte Elementary. 7, Leo A. Rizzuto Elementary. 8, Lomax Elementary. 9, James H. Baker 6th grade campus. 10, LaPorte Junior High. Number 11, Lomax Junior High. Number 12, LaPorte High School. I like that poll, please, on the LaPorte High School.
LaPorte High School.
Yeah. Number 13, Ville DeWalt High School. D, receive financial reports for December 2020. E, receive human resources report. F, receive TASB local policy update 116 affecting CQB local, DCD local, DCE local, FFAC local, and GKA local. G, approve employment of professional staff. H, approve interlocal agreement for joint elections between the City of LaPorte and LaPorte Independent School District. I, approve interlocal agreement for joint elections between the City of Morgan's Point and LaPorte Independent School District. J, approve interlocal agreement for joint elections between the City of Shore Acres and LaPorte Independent School District. K, approve proposed 2021-2022 instructional school calendar.
Can we pull that, please?
Okay. Ms. Thompson, you read back the consent agenda?
Okay. We have consent agenda items B1, C 1 through 11, C 13, D, E, F, G, H, I, and J.
Okay.
Do we have a motion?
Yeah, do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Green, motion. Mr. Wallace, second. And we'll, before I call the vote, I guess I'm going to call for the vote, but Ms. Wheeler, since you're attending virtually, what you say, yay or nay on the consent agenda? Yes, okay. Okay, everybody else, if you're on the...
Vote on the board.
There you go. Okay, and it is unanimous. Thank y'all. And now we go to consent agenda on C12, LaPorte High School. And I pulled this because I never heard from Matt Burke, but we had some orchestra students that came and played for the quartet. And I don't know if you wouldn't mind reading the names again, but for everybody to hear on the tape, but I just want to congratulate. Is that?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Come on down.
So for the people that may be watching on through our video, the recognition of the students that played with the quartet.
Our quartet consisted of tonight of Hayden Finnan, Mia Garcia, Lily Nguyen, Kylie Wyatt, and the directors were Mr. George Crandall and Mr. Brian Beers.
Yeah. And if y'all had lucky enough to listen to them, what awesome performance that they did. And I hope, board, do you mind if we give them a round of applause again for their performance? Okay. Thank you, that's all I have.
Okay, you want to vote on that
Okay.
one?
Well, since it's just a report received, we don't have to vote on it. Is that
Okay.
Chris? Yep. Yeah, good thumbs up. Okay. So we'll go now to item K, approve proposed 2021-2022 instructional school calendar.
You're popular today, Mr. Chairman. Okay, I'm going to say so moved, and then so we can
Okay.
discuss.
Well, you can discuss, and then we can, is that right, Chris? We can discuss, and then you can have a motion, so.
Okay, I know you do, but I just want to confirm that this is in consultation with surrounding districts so that we have similar days, so that any staff that works for us who may have children in another district.
Yes, okay, but I
mean,
can't,
I
I
know
can't
you-
guarantee, I mean, when I met with all of the surrounding districts, I met at Region 4, and I also met with Sanjack. All of the districts that utilize Sanjack for their dual enrollment. And I can say that we've got like some of our, I mean, we may have a professional development day, like
Right,
not every
sure.
district takes the election day, but we all have the same spring break. That's the main thing, is that we all have the same spring break. And I think pretty much, sorry, talking about ELA, okay. I'm pretty sure that, that we all have the same
Holiday.
holiday as
Okay.
well.
Okay, one error I noticed on the top upper left hand, it's on the first day of school, it didn't have the date in that corner.
I see it, I will.
And other than that, I thought it looked great.
And we did post this on the district website from the last board meeting, and I received no comments or questions about it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pretty much, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, motion to approve the 2021-2022 instructional school calendar.
So moved.
Second.
And Ms. Deanne Thompson and Mr. Shopping for a second. And we'll go ahead and call for the vote. And Ms. Wheeler, if you would call out your vote. Yes. Okay. Yes. Thank you. And so that would be unanimous. And so now we go to action and discussion items. Item 11A, approve resale of tax foreclosure property described as Lot 26 in Block 985 of the Town of LaPorte subdivision in Harris County, Texas, as shown on the map or plat thereof, recorded in Volume 1, page 27 of the map records of Harris County, Texas, HCAD account number 024-154-000-0026, and lots 27 and 28 in Block 985 of the Town of LaPorte subdivision in Harris County, Texas, as shown on the map or plat thereof, recorded in Volume 1, page 27 of the map records of Harris County, Texas, HCAD number 024-154-000-0027, and authorize the board president to execute a resale deed. Okay. Any questions? That? Okay. If not, need to seek a motion.
So moved.
Ms. Green,
Second.
Ms. Thompson, second, and call for the vote. And Ms. Wheeler, if you would state your. Thank you. And so that is unanimous. Okay. Thank you. And now we go to item 11B, discuss and possibly approve proposed 2021 LaPorte ISD legislative priorities. And Dr. Jackson, would you like to speak on that?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just really briefly, Board, you have a copy of it, and you've had a copy of it, and I won't read all of it, but I will kind of give, for the public's hearing, the LaPorte ISD legislative priorities for 2021, the legislative session. Fulfill full funding ADA, average daily attendance, for school districts and for virtual schools. And this certainly has to do with COVID, how COVID-19 has exposed the education market to for-profit virtual learning schools as well as charter schools. We support full ADA funding for ISDs and virtual schools that are limited to each individual local school district. Hold harmless funding for 2020, 2021, a current school year issue, but needs to be a legislative issue, and we are still waiting to hear from that. So these are just some things that we believe are certainly important to LaPorte ISD, but not only LaPorte ISD, also other public schools. A waiver for accountability ratings, sanctions based on 2020, 2021 data, a current school year issue, but needs to be a legislative issue. What we're concerned with is we are being told that STAR, we will take STAR, and we're okay with that. We're working to prepare our students to be successful on STAR, as we just had a nice conversation about that. What happens sometimes when we're told we're not going to be held to an accountability rating, what happens is sometimes a rating can be out there with the what if. Well, what that does is it gives the public something to kind of really be concerned with. So what if you're an A but not a B? Or what if you're a C and not a B? And so we're certainly respecting that, but we would rather, if they're not going to score us, to just not put anything out there. Just give us the data so that we can make decisions that are best for students. Property value growth. LaPorte ISD opposes any effort to divert local property tax revenues that taxpayers are told will be used to support local public schools to non-public education purposes. I think that kind of speaks for itself. That's something that I believe strongly in, I will be advocating strongly for. School safety, of course, we've talked about that a little bit. Advocate for increased funding for school safety, allotment, and local flexibility to ensure districts can adequately meet student and staff safety needs. Disaster relief, that is certainly one that LaPorte has had much to do with in the last few years. Advocate for additional funding for resources to assist school districts impacted by events such as hurricanes or tornadoes, which result in portions of real estate being declared natural disaster areas. That could have a significant negative impact on our values and our valuations. Move charter school expansion and now existing charters from the TEA. Right now, the TEA currently supervises and oversees charter schools to the State Board of Education. We just believe that the State Board of Ed certainly would have a more keen eye on some of the things that are going on with our charter schools. We're not anti-charter schools, but we just believe charter schools should be held to the same standard that we are held to. And I think board members will agree, board members on the charter school board are not even held to the same standards.
Right.
You can be a charter school superintendent and not have a superintendent certification or not have graduated from high school. You know, that's just the truth. And so we want the same standards for us that we have and are held to for those folks. Disaster relief, advocate for the additional funding of resources. I've said that. And then modify the current accountability systems to require an indexing component. We just talked about the TAPER report. We just talked about STAR. But this is a very important one for us. Modify the current accountability system to require an indexing component utilizing a risk load analysis format and methodology. The current accountability system does not take into consideration the wide and varied range of variances between students and their learning gaps and their learning needs. LaPorte ISD supports the use of an index system that considers many factors that impact students, staff, and schools and school districts. The risk load analysis is an example of a credible system that indexes various factors and the impact those factors that have on our students. As our free and reduced lunch numbers and our eco-disadvantaged numbers continue to rise and increase in this school district, there's a direct correlation to that and how well students do on standardized testing. And so if we want a more fairer accountability system, asking for this system of requiring index components and using that risk load analysis certainly would help us to best serve the students that we have in this school district and in this community. And at this time, I yield the floor to you, Mr. President.
Board, do y'all have any questions for Dr. Jackson regarding the legislative priorities?
We will have this on, I'm sorry, Madam
Go ahead.
Vice President, but we will absolutely have this, if it's the board's wishes, on the website as well, so that our parents and everybody
Good.
can have an opportunity to see this.
Yeah, I know people, I think community members would like to advocate, but they don't know how sometimes, and so maybe we can steer them to that and give them email addresses and things that they could email about, so. Anyway, thanks for your work on that, and I think
We'll
that's good.
also kind of create a little 3-step guide to how you can advocate for your school. Step 1,
awesome.
call your legislature, here's his or her number, that kind of thing. We may get some phone calls for that, but we know how to do that, okay?
Okay,
If that pleases the board.
that's awesome.
Dr. Jackson, on the disaster relief, one of the things and it may be kind of the way it's worded, but I mean, it says like additional funding for impacted by events such as hurricanes and all that, but even if we're not directly impacted after the fact, but before the fact, as far as trying to see and make sure the school finance formula reflects that we live on the Gulf Coast and we're paying higher insurance
Absolutely.
than peer school districts that are not in
They
the.
may close sooner so people can
That's right.
Yeah.
secure their
So,
homes and.
but other than that, thank you for a great job.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else, any questions? Okay, I guess we need a motion to approve the proposed 2021 Report ISD legislative priorities.
So move.
Ms. Thompson?
Second.
Okay, I got a tie there.
I'll
Either
take
one.
it.
Okay, Wallace. You wanna flip a coin or paper, rock, scissors, or? Okay.
Let him have it.
Okay, so I'll leave it to Candace, either Wallace or Mr. Shopping. And so with that, we'll call for the vote, and Ms. Wheeler,
Yes.
thank you. And it is unanimous. Thank you so much, board. Approved. Okay, and there's no action on closed session items, so with that, at 7:18, we are adjourned.